In this video, we're gonna see how to convert Python GUI applications build either Tkinter or PyGUI into one Windows installer. So we're gonna convert it into one Windows installer so that you can install it and uninstall it like how you do any other software. Doing this, the other users don't need the Python anymore. You can just download the software and install it and run it without download this Python itself. So here you can see I have a GUI application, right? I have built this using the Tkinter, and you consider I have the login interface as well as the register, and I have converted this into one Windows software. You consider I have installed this. You consider when you open it up, it shows up without using the Python, and we can also uninstall this. You consider we go to the Windows uninstaller and we can uninstall the software, and it will be completely uninstalled from your Windows system. So let us see how to convert your Python GUI application into one Windows installer so that the other user or any one don't need the Python itself. They can just download and install it and run it. So let's get started. So this is the software that we're gonna convert this into one Windows installer. First, let me show you the quick demo of this. Then I will show you how you can convert this Python application into one Windows installer that can be run without the Python itself. So let me show you the demo of this. So when we run this Python script, this is a Tkinter project. When we run this Tkinter GUI project, so let me run this now. Here you can see this is the interface that we got when we run that. You can see that we have two logins, employee login, and we can register for it. So let me register it now. So let me click on register and let me take my name, and let's also give you a password now. So this is built using the Tkinter. So let me type the contact number. Let me type it randomly, and I'm gonna enter the email ID as well. So this is just a sample letter that I'm entering, and for the address I'm just gonna leave 43. When we submit, it will give us the employee ID. Consider successfully added, and the employee ID is 7. So we can use this employee ID to log in. So let me click OK and let me close this now, and I'm gonna log in using the employee ID 7 and the password is 123, and we can log in. You can see that once we log in, we have two options. Either we can place the order or see the previous history that the customer made. First, let me show you how we can place a order. So let me click on place order now, or if you want to see the history, you can enter the customer ID to see the history. So for simplicity, when we type this 7, you can see the order number, and we got the customer name and the item that he purchased. You can see that I have previously made a order like the one quantity, and the total bill is 29 rupees. So let me show you how you can place a new order. Let me click on place order. You can see that this is the menu that contains all the meals, drinks, dessert. So let me select the veg cola puri as well as tea, coffee, and I'm gonna increase the quantity to 2, and palak paneer, and fill the customer details now. So let me type the name and for the address, and we can also give us the email. This is a customer details. So if we click on calculate bill, you consider this is the bill that we generate for the items that we select. Here you can say we select the veg cola puri or palak paneer and the tea coffee, and we got the amount that includes the GSA. So we can also email this to the user, that is the customer. So yeah, this is the software that we're gonna convert this into one Windows installer. Like any user can just download it and install like any other software. Just click on next, and we can install it without the Python itself. So let's see how we can do this. We can submit this. You consider order place, and we got the customer ID for it, and the customer ID is 8. Let me click on OK, and we can view this on the history, and let me enter the customer ID 8, and we consider now we got the customer name, customer email address, and the items that he placed, and the bill amount, order number 7, and the which polapuri like that. So let me close this, and let's see, and we're gonna convert this software into one Windows installer. Consider every software has an .emsi or .exe. We're gonna convert the software into one .exe file. Like you just install it, no more Python dependencies. So let me show you how to do that. You consider this is the code of this Tkinter application. Here in the image folder, I have all images there. In the DB folder, I have the database, and I have other dependencies as well. This is the Tkinter code now. So let me close this. We'll have to convert this into an executable file. Normally, when someone wants to run this, they will need the Python so that it will be run into the system. So we don't want to do that, right? We want to convert this into an executable file. So when the user executes the file, it will be run without the Python itself. So we're gonna first convert this into an executable file. Then we're gonna see how to convert that into one Windows installer. Finally, we will now convert this into one Windows installer like this software here. So let me minimize this and let me close this all the tabs. So to convert this Python project into an executable file, we need a library called the PyInstaller. This is an external library. We will have to install it. Open your command prompt and just type pip install PyInstaller. So using the PyInstaller, we can convert our normal Python project into an executable file so that if someone wants to install the project, the user can run this without using the Python install. They can just double click and run that. So using the PyInstaller, we can do that. And just give you a few minutes, it will install the library for us. Once it is installed successfully, we can move ahead. So now the library has been installed successfully. Let me clear the screen and we can start building the executable file now. So you'll have to identify the main file that you consider. In this case, the main file is final project. So all other Python files are dependencies. So inside this final project.py, I have imported all the Python libraries. So make sure you identify the main file. So if you are having a single file, that is no problem. But if the project is huge, you will have multiple files. Then you will have to identify the main file that you run. So let me go to the command prompt. So PyInstaller, you will have to pass the main file name in this case. So let me go to the project folder now before that. So cd desktop and I'm gonna go into my project folder. Now I'm in the project folder. If I use the DLR command, consider final project. This is my main file. So let me clear the screen and PyInstaller and we're gonna pass the file name here. This is the file that I used to run the Python project and press enter. Consider this is the project files in the file explorer. So the PyInstaller will create two more additional folders. You consider it starts building the executable file for us. You consider the Python is 3.11 and the platform is Windows 10 and it is converting the normal Python script into an executable file. It will give us a single file. You consider now the build has been successfully complete and the results are available in the project folder. Let me go to the project folder now. You can see that it creates two folders. The first one is the build folder. We don't need this because the build folder is used to collect all the files that the PyInstaller need to convert this into an executable file. So we don't need that. We can safely ignore it. So we are interested in the dist folder, that is the distribution folder. So inside the build folder, so let me open this. You can see that this is a sample files that we can safely ignore. We are interested in the distribution folder. Here you can see we got the executable file. So using this single file only, anyone can run this without needing the Python. So when we run this, you consider this is a executable file. When we run that, so inside this internal, this is just a sample dependencies that the file needs. So when we run this, you consider it starts opening the console, but it stops. Why does it happen? Because we have two dependencies. The first one is the image folder and the second one is the database. So when I open up the code now, you consider we have two. When I open up the code in the Visual or Sublime Text, I have two dependencies. The first one is the image folder and the second one is the database folder. So we'll have to copy and paste the two folder into the distribution folder. So let me go to the folder and we'll have to copy this. We need this. This is the image folder and this is the database folder. So these things inside this image folder, I have the images that need for the project. And inside this DB, I have the database file. You can see that this is the database that I was using in that project. So let me copy to folder and paste it inside this to folder. So let me paste it here where the executable file is located. Now when we run it, it should work. Now we are running this without using the Python. You can see that now we got the interface, right? So when we click on employee login and the employee ID, so I'm gonna log in using the previous registration and the employee password is 123 and click on login. It works fine. So let's go to the history and let's try to see the customer details now. So I'm gonna use the customer ID 7. Consider it shows the detail correctly. So let me close this. Normally when we run this, you can see a console first open up and then only the project comes up. You consider when we delete this console, the project itself closes. You consider when we close this, the project is also closed. So we don't want to do the right. We only want the project. We won't want the console. So let me show you how to delete this. Before that, when we go to the main folder, you consider we have a new file called final project.spec. So you consider we have a file here. Let me open this in the Sublime text editor, or you can open this in any file editor. So using this spec file, we can change the all the functionalities of this executable file. Without using this file, we can do that as well, but we again have to build it. So it will start building the executable file again. So even for a single change, we'll have to build again. But with the help of the that spec file, we can just modify what we need. So let me show you how to close that console. Earlier, when we run the executable file, we will get a console, right? So that is the command prompt like window. When we close that window, the project itself also close. So we can also disable that by open up the terminal, and this time PyInstaller and the final project. This is the main file, and we can use pass a command line argument like noconsole. When we press enter, it will delete executable file again from the starting. So we don't want to do that. That's why the spec file comes into picture. So let me open up the spec file. So we're gonna see how to disable the console from this spec file. Let me show you how to do that. So let me clear this. Let me close this, and let me open this spec file in the editor now. Let me close this, and let me open up this spec file. So if you scroll down, this is the spec file. This is just a Python dictionary, and this is the main file that the executable file is running. Consider my final project.py, and it has all other details like the data and exe. Consider console equal to true. So we're gonna just disable this console equal to false. So that's it. When we change this to false, we only get the project. We don't get any console. So we're gonna change this to false, and we can also change the name here. So let me change this final project to King's Restaurant. So that's it. We have changed two things. The first one is the name. We have changed the name, and we have disabled the console. So let me show you how we can build this executable file from the spec file. So yeah, we're gonna deal with the other information later. For now, we're gonna change the spec now. So to use the spec file, we again use the PyInstaller command, but this time we're gonna use the spec file. Instead of using the Python file, we're gonna use the spec file and press enter. You can see that again it starts building because we have changed something in the spec file. You consider checking analysis, rebuilding because name has been changed. You consider building because name changed. So this is the advantage of using the spec file. Kings, and the name is the King's Restaurant.package. So you're saying the output directory already has a content, so they want to remove, and we're gonna press Y. You consider now the build has been complete and the results are available in the distribution folder. So let me open up this distribution folder now. You consider when we go to the list folder, now we got the executable file here. You consider the file name has been changed to King's Restaurant, and let me copy and paste the two folders now, that is the image folder and the database folder. Let me copy these two folder, and I'm gonna paste this inside this folder now. So let me paste it here. So that's it. Now when we run this executable file, it should run without the console. Let me show you the demo of this. So when we run this now, we don't get any console. You consider now we only got the project interface. We don't have any console here. You can see when we zoom it out, you consider we only got the project window. And let me show you how we can change the icon now. Before that, let's try to log in to see if it is working or not. Employee ID 7 and the password is 123. So everything is working fine, and we don't got any console. Now we can see how to change the icon of this. Currently the icon is set to random. We're gonna see how to change the icon now. Let me show you how to do that. So if you want to need the icon for this, I have a folder. I have find a website called the Icon Finder. You can go to this website and you can search any icon, right? I have selected this restaurant icon. You consider I have downloaded this in the ICO4 file. You consider I have the icon in this image folder. You consider this is the icon that I have downloaded. Let me copy this, and I'm gonna paste it in the Python file. You consider just paste the icon file where the Python file is located. That is the main Python file that you run to start your GUI. Consider in the final project.py, I have pasted the restaurants.ico. So make sure both the Python file and the image icon are in the same location. Now we can change the icon now. So to change the icon again, we're gonna use the spec file now. So let me open up the final project on spec. So inside this, we're gonna add a new line called the, so inside this executable variable, You consider inside this executable, just add icon equal to and pass your file name. In this case, the file name is the restaurant.iso. So we're gonna pass the file name now. Consider this the file. So let me pass the icon equal to restaurant.iso. So that's it. Make sure you change this and we can start building now. So let me clear the screen and we can run the again same command PyInstaller final project.spec and press enter. This time the icon should be changed. You can see that building because input data has changed. The input data is the icon. You can see that it is copying icon to the EXE. It will be embedding the icon for us. Just give you a few minutes. It will attach the icon to our executable file. Once we got the executable file, we will see what to do next. You can see that now the build has been successful and the results are available in the this. So let me go to the, you can see that here also the icon is completely changed. So let me copy the image on the DB folder and paste it inside this dist folder and let's paste it now. You consider now the icon has been successfully changed. You consider now we got the new icon. So let me run to make sure it is working. Consider now the file has been worked successfully. Consider the icon is changed. Now we have huge amount of dependencies, right? We have the DB folder and we have the image folder and we also have the internet folder. So we're gonna package everything into a single file called the Windows installer. Now let's see how to do that. We are interested only in this. So let me copy all of these. Let me select all of this and I'm gonna cut this and I'm gonna create a new folder in the desktop now. Let me create a new folder now. The folder name will be a restaurant. It can be anything. So let me create a folder. The folder will be restaurant. So inside this folder, I'm gonna copy and paste the content now. So let me paste the all the files here. You can see that we have thousands of files. So we're gonna package everything into a single file, just like we have the Windows installer. To do this, we're gonna need a software called the InstallForge. So while that is copy and paste, we're gonna install the software now. Just go to your browser and type InstallForge and just click on this download InstallForge now. So this is the InstallForge website, right? So we're gonna download this software now. While we download, let me check if the copy and paste is successful or not. You consider now all the files has been copy and paste successful. Let me run this executable file to make sure any error. You consider when we run this, we got the same output. We got this interface here, that is the Tkinter. Now we have converted the Tkinter into our Windows executable file. We're gonna convert this into our Windows installer. That is a single file. So let me download that now. Just click on this ifsetup.exe file. So let me download this. You consider the size of this is just 4 MBs. Let me click on open file now. So let's click on next. So just install this InstallForge like you do in every other software. And let me keep on agree the. Now it is installing, just give you a few minutes. So you consider, so we're gonna convert all these folders into just a single file, that is .msi file or .exe file. So we're gonna turn all these 4 projects into this setup. Like you consider currently this setup is similar to how you install any other software. We're gonna convert our project into this setup file. Just like this, we're gonna convert our project to this interface. Let me click on finish now. So if you open the InstallForge for the first time, it will look like this, where you will have to enter the product name and the version and the company that is doing the product. So let's enter the basic information, right? So the product name will be the King's Restaurant and the product version will be, I'm gonna release it as a 1.0.0 and you can enter the company name. So for the company name, I'm gonna give my channel name as well. And for the website URL, I'm gonna give the my portfolio website. Now I have entered my website URL, right? Next, you need to select the supported operating systems. So what operating system your software will run on? Here you have to select the operating system. I'm gonna deselect the Windows Vista and Windows 7, and my software is only run on Windows 10 as well as Windows 11. So if you support all the operating system, then you can select support all Windows operating system. So this is for this page here. Then we need to upload all our files, right? We have generated the files earlier, right? You consider, if I minimize the, you consider we have a restaurant files, right? We need to add the files to this InstallForge. Consider we have this 3 folder. database folder and the image folder, and we have the actual software, that is the King's Restaurant. So let's try to upload this to the InstallForge now. To do that, here on the left hand side you have an option called the setup, and below the setup you have an option called files. Click on that. Here you have an option to upload the files, or you have an option to upload the folder itself. If you click on files, you will have to upload a single file. Consider it provides an option to select a single file. But if you want to upload a folder, all the files inside that, you have to select the add folder. So inside this add folder, let me select the restaurant folder now. Let me go to desktop and select the, let me go to the desktop now and select the restaurant. So inside the select restaurant, I'm gonna select the all the folders one by one. First, I'm gonna select the internal folder. So this folder is necessary to run the project. Now, then I'm gonna select the database folder. So this is the database folder, and finally I'm gonna select the image folder. Here I have the image folder. This contains all the images needed for our files. Finally, we can add our software now. To do that, just click on add files, and I'm gonna select my software now, King's Restaurant.exe, and select that and click on open. So that's it. Now we have added all our files, right? We have added all the database folder, image folder, and the internet folder, and we have attached our software now. So if you want to change this installation path, you can also do that, but I will leave this as default. And you can also allow the user to change installation path. If you don't want to do that, you can deselect that, but I will allow the user to change the installation path. And finally, you can also enable the uninstall option, so include uninstaller. So this will make the software to uninstall as well, just like how you uninstall normal softwares. So after the uninstallation, you can open the browser and go to the website, right? You can provide the website URL. So I'm gonna give my channel URL as the visit website after uninstallation. So that's it. This is the uninstallation path. So if don't focus on the variables and the commands that much. So if you scroll down, you have your option called the dialogs. So we're gonna leave the variables and the commands as default, and under the dialogs we have a splash screen. Here you can select the image file, but I will leave this as default. So we don't want to complicate everything. So if you want to explore that, so make sure you explore all the options, but I will show you what are the options are available, so you can check that out. So under the system, you have an option called the shortcuts. So select that. Here we need to add two shortcuts, one for the desktop mode and one for the uh, start mode. So let me select the start menu. So just give you a name for your start menu. In this case, I'm gonna just type King's Restaurant, and you have to select the target file. Here in this target file, you'll have to give your software name. So let me show you the software name now. So if I go to the file explorer now, let me go to the file explorer. Inside the file explorer, here we have our software, right? So let me copy this software name and paste it here. So that's it, King's Restaurant.exe. And you can leave the command and arguments as default and the icon file as default and click on OK. If you want to include an icon, you can include that, but I will leave this as default. Now we have added the start menu. We can also add the desktop. So let me change this to desktop, and for the desktop also, I'm gonna type King's Restaurant. So that's it. And for the target name, let me paste the software name here, right? So you have to paste the software name, and make sure you include the extension as well, .exe, and click on OK. So that's it. Now we have included the shortcuts, that is for the start menu and for the desktop. And if you want to change the language, currently it is available only the English, so you can select the English language only. So if you are providing the multiple language, you can do that. And finally, in the user interface section, you can change the icons in the setup. So this wizard image will appear when the setup. So let me change this to something else. Just click on this choose icon. Here you can see you can select these different options. So this will be visible when the setup is loaded. So let me select this. You can see that now I have selected for the header file only. So that's it. I have mentioned all the things, right? If I skip anything, just explore yourself, and finally click on build now. So this will create a single software for us, that is the setup file. Here you need to type the software name as well as the location where you want to save that. So I'm going to save this to the documents now. You can see that I have already made a software called the restaurant.exe setup file. but I'm gonna choose a different one now. That is the kingsfood.exe. So you consider building the setup package for us. Please wait while InstallForge is building the setup package for us. So you'll have to wait for at least 1 to 2 minutes, and then it will build a setup software in the documents folder. You can check that out. So just give you a few minutes now, and I will continue after the building process is over. You consider now it says do you want to run the setup now, but I will click on no now. So I'm gonna show you how you can run the setup by yourself. So let me click on no, and let me minimize this software now. So if you go to the documents, so documents is the location where we select the right. Let me close this folder and let's go to the documents now. So inside these documents, we have give the name like King's Food. Let me select that. Here you can see we have the King's Food. Let me double click that. You can see that now we got the setup file just like the other softwares. How you see the other softwares? You can see that this is the wizard that we have selected earlier. You can see that isn't this amazing? Where you have your setup installer. You can just install this and you can share this with your friends, and they just install this and they can run the software without any or dependencies needed or Python needed. So if you want to change the destination folder, you can do that. So I don't want to do that. So click on next and select the create desktop icon and create start menu folder. So that's it. Click on install now. Consider preparing to install. So it will extract all the files to our destination folder, that is the C drive and the program files. You can see that it is extracting all the files now. You can now the wizard has been completed successfully, setup completed. So let me click on finish, and if I go to the desktop, you can see that now we got our software. Isn't this amazing? We got our software just from the Python Tkinter, or if it is developed with the Page UI, you can also do the same steps that I mentioned. So let me open this now. Consider now our software has been successfully open and you don't need the Python anymore. You can just add this software to anyone of your friends. So let me try the employee login, and for the ID I'm gonna type 7 and let me enter the password. All the things are working properly, even the buttons. So let me click on enter. You consider now we got the history option and as well as the place order option. And for the history, I'm gonna give you a customer ID like yeah, you consider this is the customer name and customer email address and the customer address and what the things they have bought. That is the veg collaborate, and we have other option as well, and the total bill that we got, what the prices. So yeah, all the things are working properly. Let me close all of these. So if you want to uninstall these, you can just do the same steps. If you open up the start menu, you consider our software is displayed here. Just select that and click on uninstall. Consider it will open up the Windows uninstaller where you can just uninstall like any other software. So let me select this King's Restaurant. Here we have the King's Restaurant. So let me select that and click on uninstall now. So do you want to remove the King's Restaurant? Just click on yes. It will delete all the files that it has extracted. You consider now the King's Restaurant has been successfully removed from your computer. So just click on OK now. And let me close this pop-up now. You consider now the you can see that now it goes to the website that we have mentioned earlier. It goes to my YouTube channel after the uninstallation. Since I have not connected to my internet, it says you are not connected to the internet, but when you connected to the internet, will go to that site. And in the start menu also, the software has been uninstalled successfully. If you go to the desktop now, here in the desktop also, the icon is deleted. So yeah, this is how you create a or setup file from the Python Tkinter or the Page UI. This is for this video, and I will continue in the next one.